So good.
I wanted to do this because it's like, don't mind me, guys. I'm not a creep or anything else. I do this for my kids. I do this for stuff because sometimes we just want to have some fun. My house is a thing. But today's topic, guys. Today's topic is freaking topic. The depth of dating. Why nobody approaches anymore. Right? Well, Carrie did an amazing post that she got DM from somebody else the other day. She went on this big, long thing. And why is it a challenge to be single? And that's what we're going to be going over today from her posts. And you're going to figure out that why is it so hard? Is chivalry dead? Is romanticism dead? Is trusting again dead? For men, for women, is it disappointment? Carrie, let us know what we're going to do following your post. I'll get us all technically set up and I'll let you run this show for a minute.
Oh my God, thank you. Okay, everybody, I'm Carrie Polero, a relationship and identity coach, and I help high achieving women become the prize in love and life in their careers. I was telling Gordon something amazing happened to me this week. I received a DM from a man, and essentially, there was much more to this DM, by the way. It just said, this is a challenge. It's a challenge to be a single man these days. Now, I'm not going to lie. When I first got this DM, my immediate reaction, and this is why I posted what I posted, because my immediate reaction was to kind of armor up for a minute. Like, what does this guy want? Is he like wanting to hit on me? Do you know what I mean? Like,
right.
And so I read the entirety of the DM for a moment, and then I actually had to circle back like an hour later. Actually, it might have been longer than an hour later because I had to sit with it for a hot minute. Oh, hold on. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. So initially, like I felt like that as I sat with it, I was like, oh my God, this is an old reaction in the mind. Right. And like, this is triggering something in you, Carrie. Like, and if you go back and really read between the lines of what he was saying, essentially. And as I sat with it for a while, that's really where the post came out of, because my first immediate reaction was like, dude, don't be a fucking victim. You're making it hard. Right. And yes, there is a degree of that that's absolutely true. But there's also a reality that nobody ever wants to talk about. And I proved it. It was evident in the way that my physical reaction was. Do you know what I mean?
But you caught it.
Yeah, of course.
You caught it. That's the good thing.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. If anybody has questions, please leave them in the comments. We do have certain things that you might be able to use for yourself. By the way, I'm your host, Gordon Watt from Boundaries of Brotherhood. My co-host, Miss Carrie Polero, you already met her. If you have any questions, like you said, drop them in the comments, leave them in the chat room, leave them everything, because at the end of this, you'll be able to get some prizes going to 2026, because we are running live webinars, workshops, done with you things so that you can change it for the topics. Now, Miss Carrie had a situation that kind of ticked her buttons for a little bit. Like she said, she had to kind of like step back and everything else, because was it disrespectful in any way? Or was it just more of a curiosity thing as you being Carrie, the coach?
So it definitely was not disrespectful. My initial reaction was, without reading the entire post, was, is this man trying to hit on me? Or does this man want coaching?
Yes.
Like, I felt like this really, like a little bit of judgment and stuff. And I'm like, ooh. Stop and go sit with that for a minute, because maybe this man just wanted to get some stuff off of his chest. The reality is, he gave me a great speaking point, but I got to sit with it. And I actually sent him my post, and he was like, I really love your post.
Oh, was that him on the bottom?
He didn't respond. He private messaged me.
Yes.
Yeah. And, like, I started to, based on my physical reaction, I was like, oh, wow, I can see how some people could misconstrue like dating or even approaching a woman as like difficult or challenging.
Absolutely.
The old Carrie that wasn't self-aware would have jumped on his ass and been like, dude,
Good for you.
get it together.
But like I said, this is Carrie 2.0, so it's kind of different. 2.0 got everything going for herself and everything, and be able to share her experiences with everything.
Yeah.
Now, tell the story. This before we get into it, so we can set the tone.
Of what, just the DM that I received?
Yes.
A friend of mine, well, actually, an acquaintance that I know that I've known over years, and he just simply, I guess he's been frustrated when it comes to dating or whatnot, and maybe he's newly single. I don't know his situation because, like I said, we're just acquaintances. But essentially, it was about, it's a challenge to be a single man these days. And what he was relating it to was it was very different from when he was younger than today's challenges. And then I was like, oh, I understand. Because now you're getting people, unless you're trying to date the 20-year-olds, which I wouldn't recommend, as a 48-year-old woman, me, thinking of having a conversation with a man my age, like, and all the baggage that he's carrying from all of the years of dating and relationships. People are like U-Haul trailers are following them around. You know what
Right.
I mean? Full of their baggage, and they don't even realize that. And it's a lot to take in. It's almost like, man, is it even worth it? It's yes,
Mm.
dating's a challenge, but at the same time, it's like, look, do I really need to date? I mean, my firm belief is this. If I am clear on my standards and my values and who I want in my life, and I'm showing up in that way with that energy, then I'm just going to attract those people into my space. So if you're attracting a particular type of person into your space, maybe you get to take a look at,
Right.
like,
Right.
okay, how am I showing up? Am I showing up as the victim or poor me? And then those are the people that I'm gonna attract.
Right. Because and no matter what happens, like for me, it's so funny because I'm close to 10 years older than you, right? I'm close to 60. But as a for me, when I came out of, put it this way, through my addiction, through my prison time, through my incarceration, over 10 years, close to 14, and you're not being in a dating pool, I still had old style of dating. What's supposed to be there. Then I come out and I look at how these people start moving around. It's completely different, right? And it's completely different. And I really feel sorry because between the feminist movement, the movement of being independent and doing things and watching this all online, what I miss, I feel for the guys and the girls because, like you said, everybody's armoring up to protect themselves over heartbreak, disappointment, rejection, abandonment, or even misunderstood, right? Because you still want connection, but do you dive in? Or are you just like some people just fuck it and just say, go for it? What do you have to say, Matt? Like when I'm coming out of my situation from prison after doing all those times, I got nothing to lose. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to do it, but I also have those old values, those old chivalry things, those old things that's has been lost. And that's why I came out with the bear hate again.
I don't even know what to
What
say.
would you rather do? So it's like understanding that connection sometimes doesn't work that way in a way that might be suffice to you. How does that translate for your clients?
Look, dating in your 40s is like a different fucking arena
Okay.
because everyone is carrying history, heartbreak, like childhood
Baggage.
wounds. Yeah, and the whole idea of I'm never fucking doing that again. Like that energy, that's the armoring up, right? Dating in my 20s was light because now like everyone shows up with the baggage, but the question is, have they fucking unpacked it or are they trying to fucking hand it to me?
But that's the thing. Have they unpacked it?
Exactly.
Right? You want insurances. You want the old ways in a new time. Does that make sense? Because
The cleaner.
you want the end result, but you don't want to take the risk.
Yes, because now it's almost like in your 40s, you're not dating potential because you're dating patterns. You're like, you're dating somebody's attachment style, you're dating their healing, their self-awareness, or their fucking lack of it.
Their lack of it. Yeah, absolutely. Their unresolved issues, their baggage, their baby mamas, their kid. Wait,
It's true.
I got 2 baby mamas. No, I got 3 baby mamas now, including that. I got 2 that I know of. With my kids now. But just the thing, if dating in today's society is a chore, this is why I think men get their money up and just treat women like objects in a way. Is it being single in today's generation era times harder to deal with? Or is it just capable?
Well, I just think the difference between dating in your 20s and your 40s. So in your 20s, you didn't know who you were, but now you do. Like, you know exactly who you are.
Yes.
And you know exactly who you will never tolerate again.
Because you have boundaries.
Exactly.
Well,
If you've done all of this healing. I mean, can you have boundaries without doing healing? Yeah, absolutely. And then you use it as a punishment and as a weapon. But I think more often than not, what I come across is that people our age that are in their 40s and 50s, they're not looking for the chemistry. The chemistry isn't real. They're looking for compatibility, communication, emotional safety, someone that you can build and hold a life with. I think that it's just you've matured now. People have matured. They know what they're wanting. At the same time, you're in a big pool of people who have dated before or divorced and there's a lot of hurt and there's a lot of nobody wants to be the first one. I don't want to be first to put my heart out on the line.
Explain that. Explain that from a woman's point of view and from your client, from a coaching. Here's the beauty of what Carrie brings to the table. This is, besides being my friend, she's got a successful relationship right now. She comes up with so many different angles that she can give it. And this is why she's so perfect for everything that we got going on into 2026 with the workshops and everything else. But in what phase do you think that it just becomes too much?
What do you mean in what phase?
When, like you said, in your 20s, you didn't know who you was. When you're 40s, you knew who you were. But now you're listing off features that you're looking for, right? Versus attributes in another person.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was easier back then when you were younger because everything was just fun. I mean, there's so many things. If you go back and look at when you were younger, when you were creating your business or dating, you hadn't had all those experiences. So you weren't afraid to go do stuff. You would just show up, right? And everything was an experience. Even when you were a little child, every Christmas was a brand new experience. We don't think that way as adults. And it's not that, like, connection isn't hard. It's just that everyone's terrified to show their fucking cards.
Yes. Because you don't know if you're going to communicate clearly. You don't know if you're going to be willingness to be interactive. Who's going to pay for the date? Is it worth it? Do I even put myself back out there? You mean that's a lot of... You gave me a headache just thinking about that stuff with the women you're dealing with. Now...
Well, going first requires vulnerability. And it means...
Very true.
It means I'm going to be seen before I know that it's truly safe. And going first means I'm showing interest, maybe not knowing if it's mutual. And I'm allowing someone else to witness parts of me that I have spent years protecting.
Creating, protecting, developing. Yeah. I mean, that's value in itself. Right?
Yeah, I mean
that... Look, I'll give you a perfect example of that. How I mentioned before, how much value you bring to the table as Carrie 2.0. You bring so much value, right? That you're not even worried because you think it's common sense because you put in all the work. And you can apply this to even your business, your work people, your culture, your company. Everything applies to this because you just don't know. But the preamble of it, what else did that post really drive you to kind of like make this long? If you're not seeing her post, guys, if you go on Facebook or Instagram, you're going to find her at Carrie Polero, at Carrie Polero. She's all over social media, and find that post because it seems to me like it's great that you caught it, but what was he driving to about the dating scene? Did he feel hurt, do you think?
Well, because I hear it a lot with women as well. That
okay.
So when he said that, it's a challenge to be a single man these days, I was kind of like, okay, maybe this is a conversation that or that we're just not having as a collective because we're so busy blaming other things. Like we're blaming the dating apps, right? I've
True.
been
Yep.
guilty of
Yep.
blaming dating
Yep.
apps. We're blaming culture. I
Mhm.
hear women say, there's no good men out there. That's absolutely not true. Men are blaming women for being too independent. Women are
True.
blaming men for not committing. We're like missing the core of what's
Missing
actually
that
happening.
thing.
Everyone's terrified, everyone's guarded, and everyone wants the connection without ever having to go first.
How do you change those beliefs so that people believe in dating again?
Well, I think the answer is to bring everybody gets to come back to the relationship they have with themselves. It always comes back to that.
Yes, it always comes back to that.
I know people say, it can't be that. No, I'm here to tell you it absolutely is that.
No, now let me. If I was the guy, instead of you telling us what to do, if I was the guy that wrote that post, how would you coach me through it? Show me what would be the next steps if I was the client that wrote in that post. Just assume that happened.
Well, I
Would you?
would really want to explore his belief system because he gets to change the identity of because his identity is dating is hard right now, right? Like his belief system is dating is hard. Women always want something, and and also what I got without him necessarily saying it because it was a very lengthy DM. He felt there was going to be a lack of acceptance in
Oh,
where
that's deep.
in
That,
himself, right?
that's
And so his beliefs, his identity is holding those beliefs in place right now. And they're not random thoughts. They're these protective patterns that his nervous system has decided were safer than the truth. So it's not about believing in something new. It's like the identity, the belief. So I get to be in the identity of the belief that's actually running the show. And so that just showed me where he was in his identity, right? And
yeah.
so we get to really focus on what are the beliefs that are running the show and how can we shift those? And it really comes back to the beliefs that are running the show are all about how you feel about yourself. They're not about other, and a belief
100%.
is a survival strategy. And so like this is like the one thing I tell my clients. I'm like, because they're like, oh, I can just change my belief. But what you got to remember is this: your your beliefs are like little babies, right? Like you gave birth to them and you love them and you nurture them and you held on to them so tightly and you have watched them grow from when they were really little and they've grown with you throughout your whole life. No, this has now
It's
become,
ingrained.
yes, this like adult version. You know what I mean? Like,
You know what?
and so, yes, can you change your beliefs? 100%. But it's not like it doesn't happen like this. You're not going to make the choice and then tomorrow go out and attract a totally different person.
See, that's where our workshops is going to come in really handy, even with the workshops that me and Doc are going, well, all three of us under the umbrella, because you have to internalize your beliefs, where they came from, how you change it, and how you can make it. Because you ultimately you want to change your behavior to set the goals for everything else. But it all comes down to belief, and you gotta have values too. Because if you don't have, if you have beliefs with a different type of value system, it doesn't work. It doesn't jive. It disconnects. Even like you're dating, because even if you say, if I was the person that said dating is hard for a man, right? Regardless, what do you think about it? How does, if I'm going to have no confidence in myself and I'm self doubting myself, but I want to put myself on a pedestal and become the prize, like Carrie says, but I'm not acting that way, that means my belief system is all disarrayed. Doesn't happen. You will not attract the right partner because you will attract, say, somebody that's below you so you can stay in control because of your own insecurities, right? Or you're going to level up in your dating and attract the person that's compatible to you in a way that will suffice because you guys moving on to build a life. And you remember, you set the tone for yourself that you look in the mirror. You set the person that gets attracted to you. Now, physicality might be different. You can change all the cosmetics. You can do all that. But if you're a high achiever and when that thing reflects back to you in a compatible mate or a compatible dating app, things change also. Look at her face. She goes, oh, she's about to give you the woo. The pause. She's pausing. Watch out.
I think it's really, yes, you're probably not going to like what you see.
You know.
that's the reality is you see a reflection you don't like, but it's just feedback. It's just information. It, there's no like judgment about it. And so I
What?
think, at least my experience has been when you're a high achiever, especially when you're successful in other areas of your life, like maybe your career and your health and all of those things, it's holy shit. I'm going to panic when the mirror doesn't match the identity that I have built in all these other areas. Do you know what I mean? And
That's a
all it is,
mechanism also.
yeah, and it's just an invitation is all it
Yeah.
is. Just to like choose differently, to just recalibrate.
Nice. Because there's not a saying that you will get hurt. Because even in your dating game that you're going through, you will go through some of those trials. It's how you look at it. It's how you want to track. It's how you want to feel. If you're looking for a real connection and you don't have a real connection with yourself, and you don't have the confidence, the self-doubt, and you don't have a connection with yourself, what you want and everything else, but where do you give up, Carrie? Okay, from your clients. Sometimes it's not 50-50. Sometimes it's what you're going to give up, 80-20, 30-70, 40-60. What do you tell your clients when they have to give up something? Not give up, no, wrong wording. When you have to kind of like, what do you call that word when you compromise? What's the compromise?
You mean now, do you mean compromising with like when you're in a relationship? Or
Yes, when you're going through this dating because you're thinking that's not dead because we're talking about the subject. Do you compromise looks? Do you compromise personality? Do you compromise value? Do you compromise weight? Do you compromise looks? You mean what are you telling the clients? Because on the dating apps, it's all digital, physical. It's all sometimes bullshit, right? Because you're living in a hookup culture right now. What do you tell to have substance for your clients?
well, I think a lot of like that word, it triggers people because they think, oh my God, I
True.
have to set.
That's what I mentioned. Yeah.
That means I am sacrificing all the things that I want. And that's absolutely not compromise. Like if you're settling and sacrificing your needs and all of
It
that's
doesn't.
self-abandonment.
Yeah.
And then you're responsible for that because if you're sacrificing your needs and you're settling, that will lead to resentment if you are
True.
self-abandoning. If you stop communicating, if you aren't even expressing to the person what your standards are, but you get to know what is non-negotiable for you.
That's the word I'm looking for. Non-negotiable.
Yeah.
You think of the word.
And I think with the women that I work with initially in the beginning, it's great that we can write some non-negotiables, but it's really in the enforcement of the non-negotiable, right? You can't compromise if you don't know what your standards are. And so you get to be clear on your values, your boundaries, your emotional needs. But where that becomes, or compromise becomes unhealthy, compromise is not a bad word. It becomes unhealthy when you negotiate the things you actually need in order to feel safe, respected, and connected. And so if you create a list of non-negotiables and then you're like, oh, well, he's really good looking and he does all these other things right, then I guess I can overlook this aspect. No, that's not okay.
Okay.
No.
No, but I understand it. Like the non-negotiables and stuff like that. What do you tell your clients to either rephrase or I mean, in a situation like that, right? The non-negotiables. I'm curious about this. What is most women do to make them feel like they settle later on in the future?
What do you, so say that one more time?
Say you like he might have the good looks, he might be 6 feet, 6 pack, all this other stuff, 6 feet figures, drives a nice car, everything, but you're settling for this because you want to be the eye candy. But you get into a serious relationship where there's no connection and everything else. And what do you see that women tell themselves to stay in that? Is it the fear of being lonely, or is it, it's they're running out of time, or you know what I mean? Because I'm curious to think like why. That's whether you have the form of the gold digger coming out because they're trying to get all theirs for themselves. What do you see out there?
Yeah, I mean, being single isn't the problem. Fear is the problem.
Okay, I get it.
Fear of being seen, like really being seen, trusting your heart. There is this underlying belief that, oh my God, I might choose wrong.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm not enough, or maybe I'm too much, or maybe someone else is better. And so all this
Right.
fear does is just keep me guarded. When you first meet somebody, you're putting your best foot forward, right? What I have seen is fear keeps you in that performance stage. I got to keep performing, and then no one ever gets to see who I really
The real
am.
you. The
They'll
real
see the real me. And then
yeah.
it's like, I'm constantly feeding this mask and this performance, and it becomes really exhausting because I'm beginning to date from my wounds instead of
True.
just like, hey, this is who I am. Like, cool. And people can feel that.
Absolutely. 100%. They can feel that, see that, understand that, the vibrations, the energy, everything for somehow you sometimes you won't even think. But like you said, dating is not the problem. The fear of the dating is not the problem. The fear is you're gonna make me look like a superstar right now, right? The fear of actually being seen, like you said, the fear of really trusting again. Because everybody got hurt, everybody got baggage, everybody got trauma, everybody got stuff going on. The fear of choosing wrong. What if you
Hmm.
choose wrong in a partner and 5 years down the line you'll be like, oh shit, this is like because you want to hold that resentment, that grudge because you didn't have the intolerable. The fear of like, being too much or not enough. Because look, guys, this is not my words. This is Carrie's words. This is how good she is as a coach, right? I'll give her props of where she belongs because but the moment you set that tone and you find yourself in the mirror looking for things that you know, what happens next? I'll let her give the thunder and from her post.
Well, it's now there is this I don't trust myself, right? Because I have been performing, and deep down, I know that I'm feeding this like mask and this performance, right? This person doesn't really know who I truly am. They've seen bits
Mhm.
and pieces, right? And what happens is I begin to not trust them. I begin to hold resentment about towards them when really this is all about how I'm feeling about me because I don't trust myself.
I was just about to
I don't trust me. Every decision in dating feels dangerous because I made them. And the
you
fear
made it, you
isn't,
grew it. Like you
I
said,
grew it. Exactly. I supported the evidence and I nurtured the evidence that I can't trust men. The real fear isn't trusting men. The real fear is trusting myself to choose well, to hold myself when it doesn't work out, right? If I'm dating someone in like 5 years, they're like, hey, I'm not feeling it anymore. Fucking thank you. Thank you for being honest and telling me so that we can split away. And I don't abandon myself in those moments when, like, feelings get involved. Will it
myself.
suck? Will it hurt? Yeah. But if you don't wanna be here, I don't want you to be here.
Because it makes no sense because now it's just a draining battery. You're just draining your battery and just feeding all of this things that's not even going on. Now, when you set the tone and you be able to rephrase it, you might be able to compartmentalize your emotions, it's not what happens next when everything goes right and you know what I mean? And you're happy about dating, happy about going out, happy about doing things, but finding now it becomes not like a treasure hunt. You look at it differently.
As
What do you
soon
think?
as you remember that you set the tone, like, you're not waiting for someone to choose you because you're choosing you. You're not in this reactive, anxious state of
Mhm.
overanalyzing every single communication. You don't feel like you're auditioning to be liked or to be chosen. You're showing up from a grounded, secure, self led energy because you're okay with you. You're
Right.
communicating clearly. You're able to take a step back and detach and evaluate rather than that anxious pull of, oh my God, I have to chase. Right. Like that is when we learned that well, at least when I was younger, I had learned that, oh my God, like chasing is part of love, like the up and down roller coaster, right? When you stop
The
doing,
nervous system, we talked about that last week. And but that gravitational pull for what see, this is how much I learned from Miss Palur here, right? The gravitational pull of thinking that because you recognize it and you know that, you're gonna go back to that. Like when dating, like with even dating, like Carrie said, until you can get over that hump and be okay with yourself, then it becomes a whole different ballgame because you have nothing to lose. You don't have to worry about this thing. And eventually, you're coming from, like she said, a grounded space that is security driven about yourself and the confidence without having self doubt. If you have insecurities, reach out to us because creating something real does take work, but it starts with yourself, regardless of how you look at it. right?
Oh my God. When you feel powerful, then that's when dating becomes fun. People will show up differently because you're different.
Absolutely.
When you're not
100.
dating from fear and you're dating from a new identity, from worth and from emotional leadership, that's you get a
Yeah.
whole different type of person
Yeah.
that shows up in your space. And it goes the same for men as well. If
Absolutely.
you're getting women that are like gold diggers or like these types of women that you don't like, okay, well, how are you showing up? Like,
I think you're projecting.
what because if you're always putting out there this like victim, oh poor me, and dating is hard, then yeah, you are going to attract a woman where you're like, fuck, gold digger and man, it's hard to date her. Like I can't measure up because there is this underlying belief that you're not good enough and she's going to make you feel good enough. And you're looking for that evidence to make yourself right.
We can't. And we're gonna have to clip that one out because that one is so good. That was amazing. But it works for people also, not just
Yeah. Specific.
people regardless. Because and when you feel chaotic, your dating is going to be chaotic. If you're dating, say, for sort of survival mode, and you're looking to just use people, what do you think is going to happen to you? When everything is a projection of where you step, whatever, what phase of your life, whatever you got going on. But the most important person that has to be derived from is yourself. If if we come back to this all the time, whether you're in business, relationships, grooming, dating, it all gonna be how you show up and how you show up for yourself and for that person.
And I do want to add this because I don't think a lot of people recognize things that have happened in your life in your past affect the way that you're showing up. So, for example, and I'm going to use myself as an example, having an abortion at 14 years old,
Okay.
right? That's affecting the way that I'm showing up, right? Like, oh my God, like we kept that a secret, right? There's shame there. So
Right.
then testing positive for herpes, like later on in life, like those types of
Right.
things that you might want to keep a secret, you are shaming yourself
So,
and making yourself in your eyes a bad person. I made myself a bad person. So I felt like I deserved men that treated me a particular way. And I didn't remove myself from those relationships because I felt like, oh my God, because of these things, that this was all it was available to me. That's absolutely not true. The things that happen to you just happen to you. They don't mean anything unless you make them mean something about you. But just know that these are how your beliefs are created because I carried that with me for years and years. And I nurtured that. I nurtured that belief for so long
and that's
until
the
I finally healed from it.
well, it's like it's any type of situation that you think that you're going to cover up as a child because your childhood trauma grows into something bigger when you get into an adult, right?
100%.
What happens, right? Even I'll give you a story of mine since you when we got personal about this. At 4 years old, right? In fact, this happened. So there was a shooting on the freeway over here just recently, a couple weeks ago. Road incident. Guy shot at the car, killed an 11-year-old in the backseat. They showed on the news the stepdad crying on the ground, okay? Pale, wailing. When I was 4 or 5, I had a brother. Newborn, divorced parents, dad and my stepmom already going through all this for the divorce. I'm not feeling wanted. So my 6-month-old stepbrother dies of crib death. Okay. So I see this, what happened on the news triggered this feeling in me that I don't want to feel because the wailing of my dad that I already thought didn't want me and all this stuff. I'll never get it out of my head for the rest of my life. And this triggered it the other day because there's only that one type of pain that you could get from. I only can imagine if one of my sons did that, how I would feel. I don't even want to even feel it. And then I see my stepmom running in and they're breathing and they didn't know what to do with us. So they left us because they want to deal with their whatever. Now, one of those things that lead up to divorce, being with split family, going is I didn't heal from all those stuffs, right? But the trauma until I went to prison and I figured all this stuff out, that it wasn't my fault. But because I didn't get help from it, this is why I never wanted kids. I didn't believe in relationships. I didn't really want to even get married. all this good stuff because it grew into this snowball effect into that thing because trauma is a real thing. This is why me and Doc and Carrie do this for women, men, partners, relationship coach, because you don't want to have to. Sometimes you just need somebody to understand you, right? And know that there's somebody that's been through the worst because you're going to say, God doesn't, a high level person doesn't give the anointed ones easy tasks. They give the anointed people to go through the pitfalls so they can teach other people, right? Because that one was like, I was like, this dude shot at the car for road rage, and then the guy. But those are the type of traumas, and it'll affect your dating life. It'll affect your marriage life. It'll affect your work life. It'll affect your business. And until you reach that, nothing moves forward, guys. Was that deep enough?
Thank you for sharing it in the way that you did, because this was so perfect. Because I don't think people realize how deeply these experiences shape their identity and their self-trust and in the way that they show up, because it's not the event itself. It's not the event itself. It's the story you told yourself afterward. That's
It's
exactly
the story, what you did afterward, that because you don't know, you're young.
Yes,
You just don't know, you're 4.
absolutely.
You mean like my brother, my other brother, right? He's like maybe 1 or 2 is like, so what happened? Like, how do you explain? Like, but the good part of it is he was so young, he didn't even know what was it. He was still like a baby, right?
Mm.
But then like, I dealt with it. Everything gets put on my shoulders. Everything affects my stuff going forward. Those are one of those things. Is dating dead? No, it's not dead. It's how you perceive it. It's how you want it. It's how you see things, how you get back to trusting it, how you deal with your own trauma. Now, if you want to deal with your trauma, guys, right? If you need somebody that's been in your shoes, both female, male, together as a compilation, watch for 2026. We got workshops coming out. We got webinars coming out. We got live hands-on. We got PDF workshops, books. The list goes on, and we're going to have live evergreen webinars that run 24 hours so you can refer back to. All this stuff is coming out for Boundaries and Brother. Especially you're going to just see Carrie. But Carrie, please end the show. This is a personal good one.
You get to decide whether the next chapter mirrors your old patterns. It's that simple. Or if you want it to become like an era where you lead yourself, or you and you trust your own judgment, you hold your standards, you create connection from a grounded and secure energy. Reality is you get to choose. Are you happy where you're at, or do you want to become something new?
Yes, beautiful. Guys, if you like this on TikTok, please like, follow, share. Watch it on YouTube. Watch me and Carrie's playlist. On her playlist, on the channel, Boundaries and Brothers. Talk with Carrie, with Worthy. Leave us a comment, leave a message, leave us some questions, guys. Because a lot of times, this is based on you guys, the public, and our fans, and everything else. Please. Guys, it's Gordon Watt from Boundaries and Brothers. We'll see you guys next week, same time. Bye.
Looking for more? Be sure to hit that subscribe button and head on over to Carrie's playlist. You will find some good stuff there.